This off angle here, you know, the Zarya is pressuring with right clicks on your back line. She's going to pop out. She's going to see that they're positioning away from the Zarya, but that's pinning them down into another spot, and then she's going to capitalize on that. This first one is Plat 4. What's up, Bob? To Diamond 4. Says that their aim was Dookie Cheeks, but they still had pretty high damage, but they felt like they didn't get much value because they kept missing. My guess at the very beginning of this is probably not necessarily because we're missing shots. I think the bigger issue is perhaps target priority or positioning to set us up for easier shots. I think those are going to be the two things that are probably holding us back here. So we'll see how this goes. Looks like we're playing a poke comp, so in general, we're going to get a lot of value if we take several different off angles and pressure the enemy from multiple angles. Catch them in crossfires to the point where they're weakened down and they can't do anything. I'm not sure what exactly that this play accomplishes. I think you'd get more if you literally just took your grenade and spammed the front door with it. I don't think there's anything that you can do in this small window of time that is very much beneficial. I'd rather us just get to a strong position from the start, because I don't see anything that you do here that's going to do anything. If anything, a Widow might pop out here and maybe even hit us with a headshot real early. I mean, that's probably difficult for it to happen, but you hit what? Just a little bit, so you have a little bit of a charge? You would do the same just by spamming the window. Yeah, so I just don't see the slide purpose. I'd rather us just, like, be in a fine position already, but to each their own. I just felt like it was pretty pointless. Nice. I will say, in general, what it's looking like is we are getting our railgun charged, but you're always choosing to dump it into the tank. Now, if he's antied like this, I think it's great to dump it into the tank because that can confirm a kill. But most of the time, the tank that you're going to be shooting into, after you hit them with the railgun, they're just going to use a defensive ability. And in doing so, your railgun charge will essentially have been useless. I think most of the time, if you're playing Sojourn, it's better to charge your railgun and then find a squishy that you're potentially able to right-click that you're going to be able to confirm a lot of kills on. And this is probably why we're seeing in this game that you have a lot of damage, because as we're seeing already within the first minute, we have just been basically charging our railgun and then absolutely dumping it into the tank. And if the tank doesn't die and he stays alive, then we're farming damage stats. And there's actually not really that big of an impact. Sure, you're pressuring the tank so the tank's not able to be as aggressive, but you're going to get a lot more value if you can take those right clicks and use it on a squishy that you're going to be able to one-shot. So that's some food for thought that hopefully makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, because, like, there you go again, charging it off and then right-clicking immediately. Just take the time, look over here. You have a collat right here that you could have hit. And then there again, charge it, Ana's standing right here, not moving. That's an easy headshot, right? Like we are still not able to kill the hog, and that was like 3 or 4 right clicks, which is literally a whole team that we probably could have killed with right clicks. So I don't know if it's confidence of us not shooting squishies, or if you just like see the right click as a finishing shot, and so you go for it. It's not like it does an execution value of like % missing health or anything like that. You know, it's just raw numbers. So I think I think a big thing that you should try to focus on is right-clicking the squishies, like that Ana that you almost got there. Because, yeah, I mean, the value we're getting here is just minuscule. So yeah, we've missed a couple times, but I think the main issue is literally just because you're dumping all of your attacks into a tank that is able to just heal himself. So if anything, you're giving the Roadhog value because he's doing what exactly he's supposed to do. A tank's supposed to soak up the damage, and all you're doing is giving him more reason to play Hog, to heal himself, to soak up more damage. I feel like you should have been able to hear that Hog. I kind of heard his hook swinging around. This was a very aggressive angle. I just, in general, don't like this position, because over here is going to be a lot better of a position, because you can at least see down here. You can see over here, over here. There's a mega down here that you can get to. Over here, it's a little, I mean, like, yes, you can see into here and spam through here, but you are open to potential dives, and if you don't know what they're running, which they are running, you know, 2 potential dive damages. I don't know how well you felt comfortable with these up-close fights, but being over here, like, you're going to get dove, or it's at least a possibility. If you don't get dove, yeah, you're able to pressure down here, but you don't have a health pack, so you're forcing a support to either have sights on you or do something to heal you. If you're playing someone that's like shotgunny, brawly, like even a Mei, I can see them all playing pretty good up here because they have, you know, this is very much up here, close quarters combat. However, playing someone like Sojourne, who is basically a hybrid sniper, I think would just get a lot more value if she played on the farther sight lines in general. Now, you didn't necessarily know what this Hog was doing, so over here might not have been the best idea, but over here still, like a Hog, it's going to take a really long time for him to get to you unless he hits you with a hook. So, I just think this positioning was a little bit too aggressive, and you didn't have your tank even helping you there, so it's just very difficult. And now you guys are surrounded. Okay, that was the first time I've seen you take a charge shot and actually try and apply it to a squishy, and I did like the idea and the concept of that. The only issue that made you guys basically lose this fight is rather than your team surrounding the enemy by having, you know, people here, over here, and over here, you guys basically all ended up here, and the enemy team surrounded you, so now you're all kind of backed up into a corner. This isn't even that great of positioning. Rather than you having, like, people here, even if you know they're coming down here, and this has to be a later call, but, like, I don't know, if I was playing, like, or if there was, like, an Ashe, and you know that none of them were coming up high ground, like an Ashe could coach gun over here, and now you have an angle from here, an angle from here, an angle from here, and you have like everyone that's having these angles on the payload. But basically what you guys did is you all chose to play at the same angle rather than having these multiple different angles. Even like you had no pressure up here. And the enemy basically took that and they had time to get around your team. So now you're surrounded. And so they're able to fire every which way. I mean, even this Ashe here is going to be providing pressure from here. So you're getting pressure from 1, 2, 3 different places versus them. They're only getting pressure from 1, 2 different places. So essentially, just the angles alone is why you guys lose this fight. I did like the concept of you actually getting a charge shot and then applying it to a squishy. It's just unfortunate it didn't pan out. And like, taking right clicks like that's fine because you really don't have another option. But it's when you're in angles like this where you have multiple different people to aim at and shoot at that you need to consider. Did you? I think you right click there. You don't need to necessarily right click the Ana there because so she's already at half basically. Like look at this. Look at how low she already is. And remember, Sigma ult takes them down to half. It's big burst damage. So you don't necessarily have to hit them with the right click. you probably could have just used bullets. Even if she lived at the bottom there, you probably could have peeked over and hit her with like 1 or 2 more bullets. The right click, and I believe that was a miss anyways on the right click, because you definitely didn't do enough damage to really get her much lower. But yeah, you didn't need to do much else. Even the melee would have been sufficient. And then you could have used that right click to then pressure someone else. I think you keep on using this right click as like the finisher, and you should probably try and stop that habit. Sometimes there's a reason that it should be the finisher. Like if someone is half health and you know, have a full charge railgun, like by all means take the shot. But if they're like in an ult, for example, and the ult's going to finish them, you shouldn't be wasting your right click. Your right click should be used on someone or something else. Because now we don't have a right click for the Freya, so she lives. He's purple, so I'm okay with right clicks on him. Even there, though, I don't think you necessarily need the right click on him. I think guns alone would have been able to kill him, and then we could have had a right click for one of these guys. But you see someone's like 1, and you just are like right click. And I think there's a time for that, but I think a lot of the time you're like almost misusing the right click a little bit.
No sweat. Just need a new plan.
Hello there.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like you lose charge. I'm not entirely sure how Sojourne works because I don't play her very often, but I don't think you actually lose railgun charge. So even the charging it and then absolutely just like dumping it immediately, you don't have to. You can kind of like use it and then hold on to it until you see an opportune moment. I mean, another thing that you have to think about is people probably don't want to peek a fully charged Sojourne. They want to wait until she right clicks. So even just having and holding on to your right click is going to indirectly scare your opponents to not even want to consider dueling you. So it's going to provide some space in that way. It's almost the same as like going up against a strong Widow. Like you don't want to actively peek the Widow unless you know she's not looking. So nice. In that regard, like yeah, you sometimes having the threat is better than using the threat. And it's the same about like Hog Hook, right? I mean, if Hog has Hook, you're not going to want to try and go and peek the Hook. But as soon as he uses Hook, you know you have 6 seconds to be able to pressure because you know he's not going to be able to pull you in. Like you see the Hook, so now it will be more aggressive. I think another issue here is you're down a tank. And you're playing on this low ground a lot. Basically like right next to your tank. I think there was a time, maybe during this play, maybe a little bit later. Yeah, probably right here. It's you see that it's just 2 of you and you already see 4 of them. So it's almost pointless for you to actually have like a fight here. And I probably actually, instead of, even though this is a Kitsune, I probably would still realize that this is probably not going to be it. So I would probably take the time to just rotate up to a higher ground to potentially apply more pressure once my team groups up. Because you are down 2 players at this moment. And your tank like just got out of spawn. And there's not really anything you're providing here. The big thing that you did there was basically stagger. So your team's now fighting a 4v5 because you are dead.
To adjust my approach.
And that's why they're pushing so far into your spot. Pretty sure also she doesn't have like kick on her gun, but I think she has, I think there's a little bit of camera shake when she's firing. So you might actually be able to aim better if you don't left click while aiming a right click. You might have to just test that out. I know some people aim better when they're not holding left click, though. Yeah, so big things I'm seeing is not necessarily taking the best angles, dumping right clicks into a tank, so we don't actually get much value off the right clicks, and kind of like just wasting right clicks in general. Like people are still 1 health, and rather than hitting them with more left click, or even your grenade, we are right clicking them with like a fully charged right click too. So it looks like we're playing Ashe now. Okay. Oh, JK, we're Widow. Me personally, if I was to play Widow, most people know that Widow comes out up here, and this is like the stereotypical Widow thing. Most other people know that the general group is going to come out of here. So actually, as if I ever decide to play Widow on Junkertown, I actually am going to try and come out here and go for like maybe a grapple shot on this end, because most of the people will be, you know, positioning around here, and they'll be wary of, you know, here or there, but most will not expect a Widow hook shot from over here. So you might be able, if you are going to play Widow, you might be able to get a free pick from going off of a hook shot on this side. So just something to consider, especially if you're trying to just go for an early pick and then swap off. I'd probably recommend going for like something out of spawn that's not a default area, because they'll be less expected, more of a surprise. Okay, so we're back to Ashe. Yeah, okay, aim's a little off. Okay, so it looks like you're kind of basically playing behind your tank too. Remember, our team is more or less going to be pokey. So rather than us fighting from just one angle where Defense Matrix is going to eat everything, we need to try and split up, have more different angles so the D.Va doesn't know what exactly to stop when. Some good examples on things that we could play. Over here is way aggressive, and I don't recommend it because of how many sightlines could be on you and how little cover you have over here. But, and you were here a little bit, you walked up here, you fought the D.Va dropped down. This is a good opportunity now that the D.Va dropped. She doesn't realize where you are, she just knew that you were here. And yeah, we take a couple shots at the Freya, but we miss. As soon as we're done shooting the Freya, you should go over here. And this is going to give you a nice area where mostly there's an Ana here. Most of the time, she's going to be scoped in. So we're going to be able to hit her a couple times. She's going to run over to cover. We then throw a dynamite over top of the cover and hit her with fire, and we get a free pick just from having this little area. Then, if our team decides, now that the Ana's dead, if our team decides to push up, we have over here to work with to pressure more people. We have over here to work with to pressure them once they start rotating out. And then you can even continue onward and just keep on riding this left side, which just provides another angle that your team is not going to be following up. Because we all know your team is never going to be fighting from this side. So if you're fighting from this side, they're going to be, you know, your team's probably going to be pushing in from here, and occasionally you might have, I don't know, like a Reaper or someone coming out from the right side. But we need to, again, your team is poking, right? You have Kiriko, she's only good at long-range poke. You have Ana, long-range poke. You have Sojourne, long-range poke. You have a Ramatra, who, when he's not in Nemesis form, is just poking. So the best way to provide value with poke is to just get as much wide angles as possible, disperse your group so that you are providing the most pressure you possibly can that a defense matrix cannot stop it all. A Rhine shield cannot stop it all. A Sigma shield can't stop it all. Not even an Orisa. And if we provide all of these different angles to pressure the enemy, we're going to be doing more damage. They're going to have less resources to stop it all. And so in general, we're going to provide more value and probably win. So yeah, anyways, I would have gone top left and provide more pressure that way, because as we can see what you're doing here, you're going to drop down and then you're going to throw everything basically into this D.Va's defense matrix, and you're going to get no value off of it. Which again, if you went top left, like these two are just sitting next to each other, that's easy dynamites, couple shots we can take, we might even get a couple picks. And again, if your whole team is shooting, and your whole team really is just in this one location. If your whole team's in this one location, say how your whole team's like just all standing here, it makes it very easy for me as a support to avoid the damage. Because if I see that their whole team's here, I can play right here. But all of a sudden, if they're in multiple angles, you know, say we have an Ashe over here that's pressuring people, and yeah, the Ashe can stand here and pressure from there. Yeah, I can't just stand here or I guess I can't just stand here and stop being attacked, right? Because there could be an Ashe over here pressuring me. There could be someone over here pressuring me. But like where you guys are all standing, like anyone can just go here and they stop all damage. Same thing over here. Like if everyone's attacking from here, they just stand here, no damage. But like as soon as we start getting multiple angles on people, it's a lot tougher to just hide in natural cover and avoid all the damage entirely. I mean, even like the tank, right? I mean, this D.Va, if you guys are all from this angle, she can literally just stand here and not get anything. It's not until someone starts playing up here that she actually can't stand this spot anymore and has to rotate somewhere else. Angles in general is going to help because it's going to stop the enemy from having so much cover against you. And you can see the Freya and the Soldier, 2 damage heroes on their team, completely taking totally different angles, making it difficult for your backline to have good positioning to stay alive for all of it. Just throw your dynamite over top of the thing he's hiding behind so he catches on fire. Good check. Again, you shouldn't be on payload, though. Your team is on payload. They're pushing the cart. You should not have 4 people on this cart. Take the time to get some aggression so you have an angle here. Because, again, if you're all on cart, D.Va can stand here, and she can't get attacked by you guys. But as soon as you start standing all the way over to where this car is, now these stairs cannot be stood on by the enemy. I mean, even if I was an Ana, I could stand here all day and not be attacked by anybody. It's not until you start providing, you know, angles over here or flanking from over here that these stairs are no longer inhabitable. A D.Va defense matrix just eats all the damage, and so you guys literally, your entire team is unable to attack for 4 seconds. And that's pretty big when you have a full-on team fight happening. 4 seconds is a lot of damage and a lot of actions that can happen. Okay, looks like we were a little unaware of where that bomb was. That's okay, though. Happens. You guys are also... I'm also not worried about the bomb, because you guys are basically staggering here. You walked into a fight where you were already losing. Take the moment in those situations to just group up with your team. If you're going to do anything, maybe get a little bit of all charge by throwing a dynamite, but you shouldn't be doing anything overly aggressive. I think dynamite usage could be a little bit better too. But I think a big issue with the dynamites is, again, because you kind of play with the core team a lot, your dynamites are just getting eaten away or hitting a shield or getting blocked in general. I think if we have more off angles, our dynamites are going to be able to land more often on places. So now we swap to Echo. Good news about Echo is because she's a flyer, she's already going to have a different angle than the core. I do think the fly that you did there was a little bold. I don't think you needed to take a light. Yeah, the Freya flanks on the left are very strong right now. But again, like we've talked about this entire VOD, it's the whole fact that their team is taking more aggressive angles around your team, and your team is not taking angles. Your team's kind of all playing 5-man, straight down one thing. And on a map like King's Row, it's that will work, you know, because King's Row is so linear in its play mode. But on a map like Junkertown, which requires lots of different angles to actually get much value anywhere, you're going to basically struggle if your whole team plays together on one thing. Because it's so open, right? Junkertown is such an open map that there can just be so many sight lines on you from so many different angles that you as a damage especially need to just take advantage of all the open area and sight lines that there are on targets. So now we're playing Sombra. Like, even here, we're seeing a little bit more angles being taken because you're playing Sombra, so you're actually able to flank a little bit more aggressively. And we can already see that these angles are just making things work, because again, you're taking angles that you wouldn't have on the other people that you've played. Unfortunately, that was 2 ultimates that you guys did not have ultimates for, so they literally just won that one from ult economy.
Let's get the payload back on track.
But overall, it looked like that was a pretty, in general, pretty good fight. Frontlining a diva is pretty questionable. And again, I think, again, with your damage output being so high, a lot of it is just because you're dumping everything into the tank, and the tank is just absorbing all of that damage. You really need to try to focus on getting angles on the backline to make it so the backline is struggling to support the tank as much as they are. Because just full dumping your entire kit into a tank is probably not the way to go. If I was to play any hero that would probably just full dump a kit into the enemy tank, it would probably be either Mei or Reaper, since those two are probably the best at defeating a tank. And that's because Mei has such high survivability and is able to literally block the sightlines of the support onto the tank. And Reaper just gets so much vampirism that the tank basically isn't able to best him. But even here, you're taking a lot of time just pressuring frontline the tank. And I think you should try to take more time. And it's going to be tough because now there's a Tracer. And Tracer just, in general, plays pretty well into a Sombra. But you need to take more time just to, like, try to get an angle to pressure out these supports. Especially now that you're Sombra and you're able to actually, like, dash and go invis and things like that. But I think a lot of the time you're like frontlining and things, and you shouldn't be frontlining. You need to try and get more off angles onto the team to provide that pressure. Yeah, so unfortunately we got caught out by Tracer. Happens. And again, we're probably getting caught by the Tracer because we are just dumping everything into the tank. Cool. Alright, take the time, get to high ground. Cool, cool, cool. Hacking this is fine. I would still try and get more... Look, your whole team is basically playing... I mean, 3 on cart, both of you sitting in the same spot. I, personally, would try to play more on this side to, you know, just in general, have, again, an angle, stopping the Tracer from having this angle too. Like, they're just trying as best they can on defense to form more angles around you guys and shut you down. And if the enemy team basically has like a person up here, a person here, someone on here, and then like 2 back here, like, yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure from a lot of different angles, and it's going to be tough to stay alive. So when you have the number advantage, instead of you just having like 2 people in the same spot, you need to almost like try your best to stop the enemy from taking so many different flank routes and make it so they're only pressured to both this corner over here and this spawn point right here. Yeah, and then so, like, basically what you just did here is you went to the position where I said, like, you should play over here. Like, I wanted you to play over here because this was, you know, there's a Tracer over there at the time. But yeah, eventually you basically are playing over here, which is a great off angle when you have your whole team, you know, playing here. You have Venture fighting over there. Only thing is, like, you might be getting flanked at some point. But this is a good off angle. I'd be more so upset if you basically sat on cart. But this is good. And we also have EMP, so hopefully we do end up hitting an EMP here. Yeah, just, yeah. Nice. Cool. Cool. Yeah. When there is a tracer stalling point, probably the best thing you can do is just hack whatever target ends up getting the point, because then they won't have any abilities to stall the cart further. Especially on a tracer, since she has such little health pool, hacking her is basically either as soon as it ends the hack, she's going to force recall, or because she can't recall or blink, your team will most likely be able to finish her as soon as they realize she's hacked. We're playing Sombra. Again, the reason the Sombra is working here isn't because you're better on Sombra. I think it's more so, as Sombra, you're able to take those off angles that you felt less confident on the other heroes with. And that is allowing you to then have better team fights because you have those off angles. Again, you come out on Widow with the default position, just... everyone's gonna expect it, so they just won't position expecting a Widow there. Okay, this was one of the first times where I saw you go for a off angle, but unfortunately it didn't pan out. So now we're back to like down here. Right next to Zarya is not really great. This Freya also needs dealt with. As you can see, and let's go back again. And we're gonna just like look at what the enemy team's doing here, right? Again, it's a game of angles. Good news is you guys got to pick. But look how instead of the enemy team all basically playing like together here, but like look, she's on an off angle, these guys are attacking from the same angle, but like this off angle is already detrimental to you guys don't have any off angles here. So even if you were able to take some kind of off angle to provide more pressure, like even on this BAP here, who's probably living super safe just because he knows where everyone is, you guys probably would have a lot. This off angle here, you know, Zarya is pressuring with right clicks on your back line. She's gonna pop out, she's gonna see that they're positioning away from the Zarya, but that's pinning them down into another spot, and then she's going to capitalize on that. And you guys are all on point here, so you don't realize it. Soldier just got on an off angle here, so there's still the Zarya and the Wu Yang back here with the core, but they have 1, 2, 3 different angles on you guys, and you guys are all just sitting on point like a pirate ship. So that kind of like, and we're seeing that, I mean, I'm not like on anybody, but we're seeing already how the fight is being lost just because the enemy has chosen to take more angles. So if there's anything we can learn from this entire VOD, I would say, in general, if you're playing a poke comp, you need to take those off angles, because those off angles are going to mean much more. I mean, even this is the first time I've seen us on an off angle, and we were able to get the Freya. Now, you do all eventually cower back down to playing on point again. And remember, we have like 2 or 3 people on point. I want you, in overtime, most of the time, I want you to trust your team that, especially if you have a tank alive, that you're going to probably have your tank sit on point. So we need to take the time again, off angle over here, eventually wrap around over here. I don't care if you were like, DHan, like this left side, I hate, like I don't want to go over there. That's fine too. Take the off angles over here then and pressure them from this side. Like that's okay too. I feel like this side's not really that great because it's more brawly. So if you were a brawl hero, I think you'd get more value off of it. But yeah, take whatever off angle you need to. Just again, frontlining like this is just like not very effective.
This ends now.
Embarrassed about the Genji game? I mean, the only way we can learn is from our mistakes, right? So we should be happy to be sending these VOD reviews. Everyone, I'm sure, that watches these learns something or is enlightened by something that is talked about. So I think we shouldn't be embarrassed about sending in these VODs because, like I said, it doesn't just help you. It helps the community. And that's kind of like the big thing that I just kind of want from the community in general. Like, I want to see you guys all improve, hopefully, even if it's just 1 rank. I want to see improvement, because otherwise I'd feel like I don't do a good job kind of like explaining or coaching you guys. I don't want to be some dude in a chair that just says like, what are we doing, yada yada yada, and like we don't see any improvement from it. I want everyone that I VOD reviewed to improve.
If you want me
Because it feels good. It feels good to see that I'm, like, making an impact, and I'm not just sitting here and I'm, you know, giving reactions or criticism and nothing comes of it. Okay, nice.
We can't let them keep pushing. Stop that payload.
Again, your team is all kind of in the same spot. Even playing somewhere over here, which is a little bit more risky for sure. And I would say only play over here if you have confidence. But playing over here, if your whole team's over there, is still going to be, again, another off angle that they have to think about. Because, yeah, you guys have all defaulted back to the same position. You are all firing from the same place. Like, I'm so desperately wanting you to just move to the left so that you have more angles, because this Sigma is able to just throw shields up and throw up his kinetic grasp, and doing both of those blocks literally your entire team's damage. Now, they're definitely not taking as great of off angles either, but even the soldier is occasionally peeking out and getting a little bit of pressure over here, which is just something you haven't seen on your team when you were doing the attack. Like, even that, like, he went on an off angle, you got low, he had a flank. And if they all were on cart, then you probably would have been able to at least get out or survive a little bit longer. But because he was on an off angle, you positioned away from where you thought the majority of the group was. He wasn't there, so he capitalized on it. So, yeah, I mean, in general, the big take-home is just play more angles, especially if you're having a poke comp. And a poke comp is literally groups of heroes that do better in the long range than they do in the short. And they don't really have high mobility like a Tracer or a Winston. So they don't have that dive burst damage. Because, yeah, there are basically, chat, 3 different comps. There is the poke comp, which, like I said, does best at long distances. There is the brawl comp, which does better at short range, but most of the time does not have super high mobility, so they're basically just a moving death ball. And there is the dive comp, which most of the time is going to scout out a target that they believe is out of position, use their high mobility to get to that person, and with their high burst damage, burst that person down before the enemy team is basically able to react to any of it. But yeah, most of the time, you are probably going to be dealing with a poke comp, because the other ones require a little bit more coordination than a poke comp does. So in general, yeah, just take more off angles, more aggression, so we get that high risk, high reward value that we can see in the games.